Hi, I'm P.W. Huntington. I founded Huntington Bank 158 years ago on the idea of building strong local connections. It's great to see our growth across the country, and now in the Carolinas. The bankers we've hired are local, and we think they're the best of the best. Let me say we're thrilled to be here, and I could get used to the blue Carolina skies.
This Black History Month, AARP celebrates everyday excellence. The folks who show up, step into their roles, and make a difference in their community and their career. The ones whose stories often go untold, but whose impact is felt in every corner of our society. At AARP, we support everyday excellence with resources for staying competitive in the workforce. Find career resources to support you every day at aarp.org/work.
To celebrate Black history, the Post and Courier is presenting its 5th series of video interviews featuring 12 dynamic leaders to know in South Carolina. We talk to people from all over the state about their efforts to advance democracy and justice, celebrate Black culture and enterprise, and address community needs. Our videos are released monthly through January 2026. To watch and to read our 12 profiles, go to postandcourier.com/Black History. I'm Adam Parker. Join me again this year in learning about some of our state's remarkable change agents. KJ Kearney, finally.
Yes, sir.
It's good to meet you.
Good to be seen.
And good to be with you.
Yes, sir.
And after hearing all about your adventures in recent years.
Yeah.
And I want to start immediately with Black Foods Friday, because this is your thing, and it's so cool. And then we'll get back and talk about who you are and what you do and how you got there. So tell me about Black Foods Friday. You started it when, in 2020?
Yeah, Black Food Friday started on 2020.
Singular.
It's all good.
Sorry.
It's all good. Black Food Friday started in 2020 on a whim, really.
Yeah.
I had done some food stuff for Charleston Wine and Food a little bit before.
Right.
I wrote the proclamation for Red Rice Day for the city of Charleston in 2018, and I saw how food could be used to get out messages of liberation and political movement, and people won't even notice because they're just focused on the food. Yeah. And so when COVID shut everything down, I was working on a book about Beyonce being the greatest organizer of all time. And I needed a break. And because I'm a nerd, a break doesn't mean no work, it just means different work.
Right.
So April 5th, 2020, I started the account for Black Food Fridays. And
it's an Instagram account.
It's an Instagram account. It started off as an Instagram account that just told people what Black-owned restaurants were open during COVID. I mean, we didn't know if COVID would last 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever. But as time went on, it became a more important place for some people to find not just information on Black food restaurants, but Black food or Black-owned consumer packaged goods, Black-owned chefs, Black-owned caterers, Black-owned food influencers, Black food writers, or anyone in the Black
merchants, small companies,
Absolutely.
shops, I mean, of all kinds. It really kind of expanded.
It did.
So what do you think that says? The fact that there was so much interest in this, I mean, it seems to me there's a certain message in that.
There is a message, and that message is it was the summer of 2020. And that was George Floyd, that was Breonna Taylor, that was Black Lives Matter, right?
Right.
And so I went from 1,000 followers at the end of May to like 8,000 by the end of June, and then 20,000, right? Like,
oh, wow.
There was an influx of people who cared about the type of information I was giving because of what was going on at the time. Now, since then, a lot of Black influencers have seen their reach shrink dramatically as we've gone back to life as normal. But for me, my growth has been steady because, again,
it's food.
It's food, but also this is a political thing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of this not as a food account, but as an account ran by a community organizer who just so happens to be good at the internet. So I know how to listen to my audience in a different way and then provide them the information that they're saying.
So when you say it's political, tell me more. What do you mean by that exactly? What are you trying to achieve?
I mean, in general, all food is political, right?
True.
There is nothing that we eat that hasn't been decided via policy in some way, shape, or form, whether it be tariffs, whether it be the amount of plastic that is allowed, microplastic allowed, whatever it is, right? We are in the Chicor Cherokee neighborhood, which is one of the neighborhoods I organize in. There are no grocery stores here, and there won't be for a while until the area income increases, because grocery stores have to make a certain amount of money every week. People don't know that. So that's why, in certain pockets of Mount Pleasant, you'll have like a Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and a Harris Teeter all in walking distance, because the area income can support that. So that's what I mean by food is political. So with Black Food Fridays, what I try to do is I try to, one of my mentors told me that he likes the account because I'm able to operate under the level of influence, is what he said. And so by the time people realize that I'm asking them to spend their money with Black people on a specific day, that's what Black Food Friday is about, right? Every Friday, support a Black owned business. By the time they realize that's political, it's too late. They like me now, right? the jokes are funny, the information they're learning is valuable. There's not a lot of hate in my comments. It's one of those rare places online where the trolls don't dominate the space. And so by the time people realize they're being radicalized, it's too late, man.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. It also seems to me that Black-owned businesses, and especially restaurants and so on, they've been under a lot of pressure. They've been diminishing in numbers in recent years, and they've always been underrepresented. This is a long-standing issue and problem, and so to see you doing this online and sort of taking pride in this and showing people it's political also in this other way. It seems to me.
Yeah, well, I think political is relative. So let me put that out there, right? For some people, they don't want their food and politics to mix. And to those people, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They're inseparable.
They are inseparable, right? And so for the rest of us who are at minimum, if not fully accepting of that, at least open to the idea, right? I try to create a platform where people can find their own path, right? Some people come to my platform, they see some of the posts, and they get like super radicalized. Like they want to, join a union, or they only want to shop at Black farms. Now, like they get super radicalized. And then for other people, it's less about that, and it's more about them being able to put their money where their mouth is, right? To show that I can be a part of a system, even if I don't know where to put my energy, even if I don't know exactly what movement work is. Black Food Fridays is a very simple call to action. At minimum, on Friday, you can do this one thing. And Black people make, such a small part of America from a population standpoint that if every white person, if every non-Black person, said, you know what, on this day, I'm going to spend $5 with this business, the influx of cash could be game-changing for the diaspora.
It's amazing. It strikes me that you're both a guide, your enterprise, and an educator. You're really raising awareness, I think, in many ways. Important awareness. And people are responding. You say they immediately love you, and then they get radicalized, and then they really want. It's because you're sort of showing people something from a particular perspective that they hadn't encountered before, maybe.
I think that's a good point. Working in public education and working as an organizer, both in the political sphere and now in education, what I find is there are more people who want to do good than there are people who want to destroy. The problem is there is a game plan if you want to destroy. Right? It's easy to find out how to destroy things. In fact, you probably just look inside you and figure out how to destroy something.
And it's easier to destroy than to build.
Come on now. But if you want to build, or if you want to be a part of building a movement or a movement that's already been created, we on the movement side don't do a good job of allowing people to bring whatever talents they have and then plug them in. Right? So you might not be able to march because of age, because of physical ability, but that doesn't mean you can't make signs, right? Or maybe you don't have hands, you can't make signs, but you can march, right? We in the movement space need to do a better job of finding, not just pigeonholing people and saying, okay, everybody does this, this, or this, more so like, well, what can you do? Okay, well, then there's a place for you here. And I think Black Food Fridays is a place that allows people, wherever they're coming from, socioeconomically, politically, they can find a way to plug in if they want to.
So you see this as part of something bigger, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Part of a larger movement.
Absolutely. It's a larger movement for a couple of things. One, just being intentional of our neighbors around us, right? It takes a man, most men, to be intentional about shopping at a woman-owned business, right? Doesn't mean we hate women. We're just not thinking, I'm going to spend money with a woman on a Wednesday, let's just say. Oh, that might be a new thing, man. Women's food Wednesday. Something we'll workshop it.
Yeah.
You know, but like it takes intentionality. And the same way with any other non-white group is you have to be intentional. In most spaces, you have to be intentional. Yeah. And so that's all Black Food Fridays is giving people an opportunity to be intentional
And a framework.
Oh, I like that.
To see it from a particular perspective.
Absolutely.
It's a way in, basically, as you've pointed out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So interestingly, your other job with Charleston Promise Neighborhood, which is, I guess, your real job, quote unquote, is similar in certain. I mean, there's some overlap there. You know, I see a lot. Yeah, social. You're involved in the community. It's community building. It's education. It's outreach. It's all this stuff. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing with Charleston Promise Neighborhood and what it is. Also tell our viewers.
My boss is not paying me to say this. This is the best job I've ever had in my entire life.
Well, you had some really bad jobs, though.
Horrible jobs.
I mean, really bad.
Yes, sir.
So, I'm just saying.
Just saying, right?
Yeah.
But even comparatively speaking, like, this is the best job I've ever had because I'm in proximity with people, right? Like, my job does not require me to sit behind a desk. In fact, I can't be effective at my job if I'm sitting behind a desk. So I go to neighborhood association meetings. I go to city council meetings. I go to transit-oriented design meetings. I go to COG meetings. You know, I'm going to anything that could affect the community. I get paid to be nosy is what I tell people, you know? So I go find out what's going on, and then I bring those resources either to the community or to the schools that we work at. So for instance, a couple weeks ago, I put on, in partnership with Jacora Elementary School, their first ever community resource event. So we had about 25 vendors from nonprofits, for-profit businesses who just wanted to get in front of our students and our parents to show them, whether it be Dominion Energy, hey, if you need help with your utility bills, this is how you do that. Whether it be Exit Realty, who was like, hey, if you want to buy a house, we can help you get there. Daddy's Girl Bakery was selling Chewies. You know, the COG was there to show what's going on with the local, with the Low Country Rapid Transit bus line that's coming. Yeah. A lot of our residents don't know that that's a thing. It's going to make the property value around here change. Yeah. So, in short, that is what I do in the real world, and that, you're right, does overlap with what I do online because it's essentially the same group of people who I want to uplift and who need information and resources. Mm-hmm. It's the same exact job, except one is based on a phone and one is based in the streets.
Yeah. And Charleston Promise Neighborhood, I mean, it was established when? About 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, so over a decade. Yeah. Sherry Snipes-Williams is our CEO, and she's been there, I think, about 12 years. But really, it's just about the relationships that we have in these Title I schools that allows us to be a convener, to bring resources. Yeah. The schools trust us, the principals trust us, the parents trust us, the community trusts us, and that trust is valuable. And because we have that trust, we're able to move mountains and sometimes relatively quick.
And you're focused on the kids,
1,000%.
And it's geographically, it's sort of the neck area. Correct. Into lower North Charleston and the upper part of the peninsula.
Yeah, upper part of the peninsula, including the east side. So Sanders Clyde is one of our schools.
Okay.
James Simmons is one of our schools. Right. Jacora, the aforementioned Jacora Elementary. And then Mary Ford Early Learning Center is one of our schools as well.
Okay, got it. Wow. Well, sounds like a pretty good job.
I mean, again, I'm not being paid to say this. I love my job, so I really do. And to be frank, because of what I was doing with Black Food Fridays, that's how my now boss, found me. Because she saw the parallels, and she was like, well, if you can build community around Black issues with Black people and non-Black people online, and you're from these communities, my mom is from Union Heights. We used to live in Jacora with my aunt. I had an aunt who lived in Jacora. My mom, grandma, they're all from Union Heights. So the relationships were already there. They just hadn't been exercised in a while because I've been focusing on online stuff. but she gave me the opportunity to come back home, so to speak, and I've been loving it ever since.
All right, so home. So you were born in Charleston.
North Charleston, to be specific.
North Charleston, to be specific. And both of your parents were in the Army?
Yeah.
Both of them?
Both of them
Did they meet in the Army?
Absolutely.
So tell me about, and they traveled a bit, so you were born here, but you spent a little bit of time abroad.
Absolutely.
As a baby, I guess.
As a baby, yeah. So I was born in North Charleston at the Old Naval Hospital. And then from the Old Naval Hospital, we went to Germany. My parents were stationed in Germany. So my first 3 years of life were basically spent in Germany. My first language was German because my babysitters were German, right?
Right, of course.
I don't remember any of it. It would be cool.
bad.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, you should take a class. I'll bet you it's lingering there
probably is.
deep in the...
You know, I went to Berlin last year and I did Duolingo. This is not an ad for Duolingo because I think Duolingo sucks. But what I will say is that it wasn't as difficult as I was told the language would be because of how my brain works. Yeah, but how my brain works is very logical. So German, you know, they have like these 20-letter words, but they're
just
like
different
all
words
different
put
words.
together.
Yeah, that's all they are. So once you learn the words and you learn the structure, you know, but don't use that app. Use something else.
Okay, all right, fine. That's interesting, though, because it is true that when your very earliest exposure to language does kind of wire your brain in a certain way. And so there it was. I mean, you probably have that kind of, probably wouldn't be too hard for you.
It probably wouldn't. I do some German immersion, you know, just go move to Berlin for a year and I'll come back and...
Cool city.
It is a cool
Getting
city.
real gentrified, though.
Yeah.
Used to be cheap, now it's kind of pricey.
Well, I mean, so is the way of the world, right?
I guess that's what's going on. So your parents are in the Army. You spent a couple. Then you moved back. And what was your childhood like?
I mean, I would say my childhood was an average childhood. You know, I mean, but average again is relative. So we came to Tacoma, Washington first. That's where my brother was born. So it was stationed out there. Stayed there for a couple years, and then drove across the country back to Charleston. And I got here when I was like 5 years old.
And your mother insisted on coming home or something? I mean,
yeah. My mother had gotten out of the military recently, and she wanted to be home. She had 2 young children.
Right.
My grandma was alive. You know, my aunts were almost all my aunts were here.
Sure.
So there's a lot more support here than there would have been in Tacoma. Plus, I think my mom wanted us to know what it is to be from Charleston, right? For Black Americans especially, this city is as a whole, it should be considered a holy place. At least that's how I feel as a Gullah Geechee person. And so my mom definitely wanted us to, even if we didn't stay here forever, she wanted to be able to say that we had a foundation that was built here.
An identity that was associated with this place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense too. And at what point did you get interested in football? Because you played serious football.
I did.
For years.
For years. And I have the war wounds to show it, bro.
Yeah.
Like the memory loss, the surgeries, the whole nine. Yeah, I started in elementary school. I mean, quite frankly, and
were you bigger than the rest of the kids back then, or just a normal?
Yeah, just normal sized kid. My little brother has always been bigger than most kids, but not me. For me, football was a way to actually make friends.
Find acceptance.
Yeah, I was a nerd, bro. I've been a nerd since day before. It was a cool thing to be a nerd.
Did you wear glasses back then?
Absolutely, I had
you were reading
glasses.
a book all the time.
It's like you saw into my life, bro.
Yeah,
like that's exactly what my life was.
So the other kids were thinking what exactly? How did they pin you?
I mean, elementary school, everybody's your friend, right? Middle school is when I
it gets
realized,
tough.
Being a nerd is not cool. Like girls do not pay you any attention. Dudes want to beat you up. Like, this sucks. Until we got on the football field, and you smack a couple dudes up, and they're like, you know what? He is nerdy, but we're gonna let him live. You know what I mean? And like football really was an escape for me.
Was it a way to get out some of your frustrations too?
Absolutely. As a nerd, you have many frustrations, right? And football in this country is one of the few places where violence is sanctioned. Right. You know what I mean? Like it is regulated,
structured, regulated, but it's okay.
You can do it, right? And so it was great for me until I got to college, and in my senior year, I just wanted to be a college student. And so I quit my senior year, which I kind of regret because I could have just sat the bench and got a champion ring. Yeah, they won the conference championship my senior year.
This is South Carolina State.
The illustrious South Carolina State University, home of the Mighty Bulldogs and the Marching Bulldogs. You got to say the whole thing.
Okay, you're right. I suppose you're right. And but those years were like the best years of your life, right?
I would say
the college years.
Yeah, they were the best years of my life. Not because Orangeburg is such a magnificent city.
Well,
you know?
right.
But because I learned that it was okay to be me. So I got recruited by, College of Charleston, the Citadel for football, Elon, a couple Ivy Leagues, and I knew I was
So
going to.
you were a good player.
I was good, but my team sucked tremendously.
But people had an eye on you, I guess. You had
I was
scouts
all
looking
region.
at you.
So I was an all region free
And
safety.
what position? You're free safety.
Yeah, so I played quarterback and free safety, but when your team is 1-10, no one's going to put you on their top quarterbacks list.
Right.
But when you're like the first or second leading tackler on your team as a free safety, people are like, that's interesting.
They're going to notice that.
Exactly, which, for the record, you should never be the leading tackler as a free safety. You should not even be in the top 10, bro. Like you should probably have the least amount of tackles. But regardless, because of that and my academics, right? So not only was I a football player, but I was in the yearbook club, the French class, We the People debate team, the SAT team. Like I did
all the things that nerds do.
All the things that nerds do, but also I will knock you out on the field. On the field, I would knock you out. So that's why.
Wait a minute, let me just take off my glasses.
Correct. And so that's why I think the schools that were interested in me, because it was like athletics, but it also the academic portion was always there. But I knew I wanted to go to an HBCU. It wasn't even a question, because while football saved me, it never made me feel fully included into the quote unquote black experience. So I went to like Morningside Middle School, which at the time was probably like 90% black. Stall High School at the time, probably like 90% black. And so I was never, bullied in high school. Like had a great time in high school, but I never felt totally in. And I think that nerd thing kept me on the peripheral. And so my idea as a nerd was, okay, go learn how to be the cool type of black kid, right? And where are you going to learn it at? Princeton? Hell no. You're going to learn at the college? Yeah, College of Charleston? No, you're going to learn that at HBCU. But I got there, and I will say this real quick. My first week changed my life.
Yeah.
Because that week I learned, there's so many different types of black.
Right.
I don't have to fit into
It shattered
anything.
all of those preconceptions that
and
you
then
had,
it allowed me
basically,
for 4 years to just be KJ. Whatever KJ was, that's who I was.
So it was 4 years of self-discovery in part.
100%. Yeah.
In an environment in which you were feeling comfortable and hopeful and where there was opportunity for you?
I mean, think about it like this. In this country that we live in, there are very, 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 very few places where black people are the dominant culture. And I mean from cities, schools, towns, there are very few places. And HBCU is the one place that most black people in this country will ever go where they are the dominant culture. Where if a girl didn't give you her phone number, it wasn't because you're black. If she did give you the phone number, it wasn't because you're black. If you had a bad dorm assignment, good dorm assignment, good food, bad food, professor failed you, professor loved you, I never in 4 years worried about, is this because I'm black? And when you're 17, 18, all the way up to 22, that is an underrated part about going to an HBCU that I don't think we do a good job selling, but just being free.
Yeah.
And not worried about racial pressures.
Let your guard down.
It's not even just letting your guard down, it's letting your guard down, but to your other point, finding out who you are at the same time. It's a beautiful thing. I wish all black kids got a chance to experience that.
I have heard that many times that argument that's really the best reason to have an HBCU experience.
And all the white kids I know who ever went to an HBCU are the most well-rounded individuals that I've ever met, right? Because unlike when you are a black person in a majority white space, we are the opposite. So when you decide to go to South Carolina State, we're like, oh, this white guy could have gone anywhere. He chose to come here. We're going to show love, right? Now, again, I'm speaking from a very limited perspective because I'm not a white kid, so I don't know what it is to be a white kid. But in my experience, all the white kids that I know who I went to school with or who I've known have gone to an HBCU said for them it was still an eye-opening experience because, again, they got to learn about black culture outside of the textbook, outside of what television tells them, so they get to form real opinions about real people.
And real connections to real
which
people.
I was going to say, which builds real connections. And, you know, in order to change the world, you got to be in proximity to the problem. So those kids, you know, also send your white kids to HBCU too. You know what I mean? Like,
just not too many of them.
not too many, right? Absolutely.
That's happening plenty in other places, you know.
That's good.
Well, you know. So, and what did you major in? Business.
Business management.
Yeah.
Waste of a degree.
A waste of a degree.
100%, bro.
I mean, you're using it, sort of.
Am I?
I don't know. Are you?
No, I'm not.
You're not applying
let me
anything you
rephrase
learned.
that. Let me rephrase that. I'm being facetious, but I wish I would have got a degree in like economics or finance.
Yeah.
Like I wish I would have got a more specialized business
Shows
degree.
you the way the world works. Yeah.
The way money works.
And the way money-
we live in
well,
a capitalistic society, and even though I'm a community organizer, I work for a nonprofit.
Yeah.
We still have to ask people for money.
Yeah.
Those people, right? A lot of them know how money works. I wish I would have taken that time
it's
to
not
learn
too
how
late.
money works. It's not too late, but it wouldn't. I don't know if it would be the same.
I mean,
right?
not to necessarily get a degree, but to read books and to watch some movies and do the, documentaries.
Yo,
and,
absolutely. I guess I'm thinking about the 20 years lost, right? Like, if I graduated at 21 years old with a degree in economics, finance, having a understanding of how money worked at 21, I'm 41 now. Like, what would that 20 years have looked like?
What would it have looked like? What do you think would have happened? You would have gone to Wall Street or something? Would you have become a money man?
Maybe.
You wouldn't be doing what you're doing now.
I wouldn't, but I think I would have found my way back to something like this. Because
You think?
I mean, I worked for.
Money corrupts.
That's fair. That's true. Money does corrupt. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it does corrupt, and it feels.
Once you get some, you want more.
And I was gonna say, like, it feels good to be able to buy coffee and not have to worry about, can I pay my rent this month? You know
Good
what I
to
mean?
be rich, like Mel Brooks said.
It's good to be rich, but I think it's because of the lived experiences I had. I worked for MUSC, I've worked for Strayer University, so I've worked in business environments, and it never stuck to me.
Yeah.
It just always felt gross.
You didn't like it.
No,
Yeah.
it just always felt gross, like an exploitation of people. And so when I came across an opportunity to do something in the community, 2 days in, I'm like, oh, this is the kind of stuff I want to do. So yeah, I might have been a Wall Street guy.
Well, tell me about that. So you spent like a decade sort of floundering in
That's a
in
good
the-
way to put it.
Right, in the business
Floundering.
world, not really sure what the hell you were doing or what you wanted.
Absolutely.
And then this opportunity came along that you didn't even recognize as a real opportunity at first.
No, not
right?
at all.
Because they wanted your mom to.
Well, they wanted me. So the
Oh, they wanted
opportunity,
you, right.
the opportunity
Sanders
was
Clyde.
Sanders
Okay,
Clyde, exactly.
Tell me about that.
The
Yep.
principal at the time was a mentor of mine in high school.
Okay.
And he knew that I worked downtown, and I worked at MUSC, and I got off at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And he was like, yo, we're trying to start a basketball team for the 4th and 5th graders. Would you like to be the coach? And I was like, absolutely not. I don't like kids unless they're related to me. I'm good on that. And he was like, well, ask your mom, because my mom used to coach basketball very successfully, And so I asked my mom. My mom was like, she was all about it.
Yeah.
And so my mom's caveat was, I will coach so long as you help. Because you're already downtown, You can set up practice, get the kids warmed up. By the time I get there, we get into drills, blah, 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 blah.
Was this just a practical demand she was making, or did she have something in mind?
You know what? I should ask her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was practical because my mom had a job where she didn't get off until 3 at the time.
Oh, I see. So she
So
needed you to be
it was
there.
practical, but I'm sure there might have been some other methods. I just never asked, why. But for me, it was not about the kids. It was about getting in front of my ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend at the time
Was
worked
that
there.
Sanders Clyde?
Yeah, she worked
And
there.
you thought.
Hey, if she sees me with the kids, then she'll be like, this
gonna
guy's
like
changed.
you again.
Yeah. He's learned his lesson. I did not. Just be frank. I did not. So she made the right choice. Leave me alone. But working with those kids changed not my life in a proverbial way, in a literal way, because I realized that there are kids, people who live 15 minutes away from me, right? Who have completely different lived experiences. One of those being travel, right? Little things like, oh, I'm taking my team to Charleston Southern University and my kids are asking me, do we need to pack a bag? And I'm like, what? Are you being for real? We're just going to Latson. Okay, do we need to pack a bag?
Yeah.
And them not connecting that Latson is the fairgrounds. You've been to the fair, right? Oh yeah, I've been to the fair. That's Latson. Oh, right? So like those little things every day, they gave me something, one, to learn about myself, but two, to check myself. Because I didn't realize the privileges that I had at the time, right? I'm black, which is not the most privileged station in this country, but I come from a two-parent home, right? I've never been hungry ever. I may not have gotten all the sneakers I wanted as a kid. I might not have got every gaming system I wanted as a kid, but I did not lack for love nor creature comforts. Yeah, you know. But my kids, you know, I'm walking them home and I'm like, oh, your floor is made out of cement. Oh, your stairs are made out of cement. Oh, you have cinder block walls. Oh, this is why you don't care about stuff, right? White supremacy is not a color thing. It's an ideology thing. And black people can uphold white supremacy ideology. And I didn't realize that at the time, I was upholding some white supremacy ideology of like, oh, the other side of the tracks, sketchy part of town, you know, just using that language, having that verbiage about my own people. It just, now I think about it, it makes me sick, but I didn't know any better, you know, and the goal was to get money, get a degree, and get out and leave. And now I realize the drain that puts on our communities and how ripe it makes it for gentrification and for other developments in spite of and not with the community in mind.
I mean, it's hard not to be a little sympathetic with the desire to escape, you know, the desire to improve, the desire to find opportunity when opportunity lacks in your own community. Yeah. But it's a double-edged sword, for sure, and then it leaves these communities impoverished.
It's a brain drain.
A brain drain.
Yeah, so to speak. And I also would
literally.
Well, yes, fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening. People are leaving.
But I would also say that, you know, again, it goes back to this ideology of the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah. Right? And
just make this grass greener.
Right, but that takes work.
Yeah.
You know? And again, going back to what we said earlier, most people want to improve their community. They don't know how.
Or they don't have the means.
Everyone has the means, but knowing how is different. And the means does not necessarily mean money.
Although that helps.
It helps a lot. When you want new sidewalks, when you want street lights, when you want grocery stores, right? These grocery stores are looking at the income in the neighborhood. Right. So I say all that to say, I tell people like this, right? If you are forced to choose between community and amenity, you're probably going to choose amenity. And I'm not even saying you shouldn't choose amenity because, again, black people deserve Starbucks. Well, Starbucks sucks, but black people deserve coffee shops and sidewalks and street lights and parks and all these other things. We have been taught now, right, to move to the place that already has it versus working with the people around you to build the community that you want, right? So that's what I mean by my ideology. I remember vividly high school, college, even after college, when I get rich, I'm gonna buy a house on the Battery. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna live on South of Broad, I'm gonna live on Calhoun Street, like I'm a B. And now I'm like, for what, bro? Like, you know, I can spend that $5 million in the community, you know? I can buy a bunch of lots. Right. You know, I can help improve other people's homes. I can
go to Berlin and study some German.
Come on, man. Or more importantly, bring people to Berlin with me. So that they can
the
see.
World.
So that they can see and their minds can be expanded. That's kind of where I'm at now.
That's for you. So, okay, so what's next? What's the future? What's coming up now for Black Food Fridays and for you, KJ Kearney?
Yeah. What's coming up next is I'm spending 2025 bothering a bunch of people who have more expertise than me. because I know where I want to go. I just don't know how to get there. So right now, I'm a James Beard Award-winning social media influencer, which has its perks. But I would like to be a publisher. You know, I would like to be a platform where other people who are interested about telling Black food stories can come and say, hey, I got this article I want to write about this corner store that's been in this community forever, ran by the same Black family over the 100, whatever, right? I want them to be like, oh, where can I publish that story? At Black Food Fridays, right? I want people, I want big brands, you know, Gatorades, the Pepsis, the Ford Motor Companies. Like, I want them to invest in us, the work that we're doing, so that we can tell better and more expensive Black food stories. Like, one story I've been dying to tell is about chicken wings in strip clubs.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's just a subculture of juke joints and hole in the walls and strip clubs, and you know, but that have some excellent food. Yeah. And but the reason those chefs aren't famous is because they don't get shown on the Food Network.
Right.
They don't get shown on the cooking channel, right? They're not getting brought to Good Morning America. But what if I create the platform that makes them the rock stars, right? And so that's where my brain is going forward. It won't happen in a year, but that's where the progress starts.
You're going to take this year to sort of set up and look to expand your reach.
Yeah, and bother a bunch of people who know what they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, well, listen, that sounds great.
I appreciate you, for real. Thank
that
you.
really sounds fun. Let me know when you're going to the strip club. No, I'm joking. I'm not.
You're not,
yeah.
and I'll bring you.
I'm sort of
It's
joking.
for work. It's journalistic
it's work.
integrity,
it's research.
brother.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got to do the research.
Yeah.
I appreciate
It's been
you,
a
dude.
pleasure.
Yes, sir.
And congratulations on everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Online and in the street.
In the street.